Hi everyone, as promised I said I would film the last bake. The ones that you see in the background, we did these on live, so there's no tutorials for these larger shakes. Everything works on the same principle. Obviously you can add different colours and bits and pieces. So I am going to do the Paint the Roses Red in this glass here. You can find these glasses online. Charity shops are the best place to find these glasses. Seems like nobody wants them, but we do. I've also filmed a tutorial on this little paint pot because I just feel like we need a paint pot in our little shake. So there is a separate tutorial on how I created that if you are wondering what that is. So I'm going to pop that to the side and then we're going to get out some products that we're going to be using. So the tray that you see to the left of me, this was a kit that I sort of like created for everybody. These are now out of stock. I may introduce these just as the prints. Obviously the charms and things do vary. I do sell obviously the charms and bits and pieces separate when I'm live. So this is the kit that I pulled out. This is the charms that I'm working on. Obviously yours might be slightly different. So products you will need for this bake. So this goes for any of the bakes that we do, ice creams, all that sort of stuff. There is quite a few tutorials on my TikTok if you just want to sort of like have a browse. If you are new here, welcome to you as well. So this is a one strike filler. It has to be lightweight. If you just go for normal filler, what happens is it's very grainy, very, very heavy. This is like a thick buttercream. You will also need a mixing pot. I've just cut this down. This is a pint glass, sort of like size of plastic, a large lollipop stick, and then obviously depending on what colour you want to go inside your glass. I am going to go for green. So this is just Christmas green. This is acrylic paint. For the back we use obviously baby blue, and then we obviously did the stripe as well. So if you are not doing this theme, it works on exactly the same. So if you want in chocolate, you know, obviously get your brown paints out, etc. I've popped some lightweight filler into my mixing pot, so obviously it makes it so much easier when you are adding colour. If you are wondering where to get the one strike filler from, Amazon is definitely the best place to go. So when you are mixing colour into your lightweight polyfiller, you must remember that it will never go to this colour. So it's like dyeing your hair. That's the only way I can describe it. It will only lift to a certain colour. So you can put loads and loads and loads of the same colour in. You will never get that green because obviously it dries with a white base. So this is not going to lift to this green. So I don't want you to make the mistake by adding far too much acrylic paint into your filler to try and get a darker colour, because like I say, it will not happen. If you've added far too much acrylic paint in and it's gone sloppy, you'll know once you start playing about with it. You will need to add just some all-purpose flour. That way it will sort of thicken up your polyfiller. So what you need to do now is just give it all a good mix. And as you see, it's not lifting to the same green. So I'm just going to give all that a mix and then I'll be back. Everything is now mixed together. So now we are ready to line our glass. So now what you're going to do is wipe everything off your stick. Then go in with quite a bit on your stick. It just makes it easier to sort of spread about your glass. We're going to push this onto our glass, wiggle it up and then pull up. So we're not filling the whole inside of the glass because that's going to waste product. Once you get to sort of this sort of stage, you need to wipe it off and then go back in. If you don't do that, what happens is you start dragging off all the polyfiller that you've already put on there. So always keep a big chunk on your stick. We're just going to work all the way around our glass. Obviously some air bubbles are, you know, quite effective if you want those. If you don't, push your stick down onto the air bubbles. Then wiggle your stick back up. And then that just sort of like makes it a little bit more less see-through, should we say. So you may be wondering why on earth you cannot just paint the inside of the glass and stop all this polyfiller and all that sort of stuff. I have tried it. You cannot just paint on the inside of the glass. It does look like you've just painted it. So you just need to work all the way around, wiggling your stick and pulling it up, getting rid of any air bubbles by sort of tapping it, dragging your polyfiller back up, and getting a good coat on the inside of your glass. If you don't put too much polyfiller on, what happens when it dries is you'll get sort of see-through bits of your glass. So I'm just going to work all the way around, just like I've just showed you, and then I'll be back. All my glass is now covered on the inside, and I've just took the finger for any excess that's on the top. If you do use a baby wipe to wipe this off, because obviously we are going to be using our glue gun in a second to put the lid on, just tap anything down that goes over. So if you have used a baby wipe, obviously you're going to have some water on there. Just use a kitchen towel, just wipe that off. It just helps your glue adhere a little bit better. Next we need a cardboard top. The thicker the cardboard, the more you're going to have to cover with your polyfiller. So once you've got your cardboard lid on, for example, and you start piping, you might see your cardboard, especially if it is quite thick. So there is a couple of ways to do this, which I do cover on my lives. I'm trying to keep this video as short as I can. So the thinner the cardboard, the better for this. Good old Amazon. So you need to tip this upside down, draw your circle around the rim, and then cut that out. Once you have cut out your circle, just use your glue gun, run your glue gun right the way around the rim. Make sure if you've got any print on that it goes on the inside, and then you're going to adhere that to there like this. Next I'm going to add some height. So this helps, especially if you want a really big topper on it and you've got quite a few bits and pieces to pop on your shake. I am using the 6cm polyballs. I've cut one in half, so you can pop that on the top with your glue gun. You can also use a plastic shot glass. Again, that gives you a good height, so once you start piping all your filler, again, you're not going to use too much product, but just bearing in mind your filler will only sit out a few mil from this shot glass. So if you are wanting to put straws or something like that in, you're going to have to poke some holes inside your plastic first, where your straws are going to go into. That way it just stops it falling out of your polyfiller if your polyfiller is quite thin at the top. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack two 6cm balls on top of each other. Just to support those, I'm going to pop in a cocktail stick and then pop this one over the top. Using my glue gun, I'm going to pop some glue inside there, poke this inside there, and then obviously use my glue gun as well and secure all that together. I am going to trim the rim of this glass with some ribbon. I bought this from the range. It's just checkered love heart ribbon, which I think is going to match perfectly. And what I'm going to do with this is run this just so it covers the cardboard as well. So this is another tip, especially if you've got quite thick cardboard, is to cover it with some ribbon. That just saves your polyfiller coming too far out your glass and looking a little bit of an odd shape. So this is going to sit round here. You can use tacky glue for this. You can also use your resin. You can also use a glue gun. So you don't have to run your glue all the way around. What that'll do is it'll bubble up your ribbon. So I'm going to start at the back, add some glue onto here, pop that on there, go halfway round, pop a little bit more glue on there, carry on working round, blob at the front, and do the same. So there'll only be sort of like 3 to 4 blobs, and then join my ribbon to the back. All my ribbon is now attached, and I will see you in part 2 to decorate. Goodbye everybody!